திரு ஆனந்த் ஸ்ரீனிவாசன் அவர்களின் சாதாரண பங்கு அசாதாரண லாபம் தமிழ் வடிவம் இப்போது கிண்டிலில் கிடைக்கிறது. இந்த புத்தகம் புதிய முதலீட்டாளர்களுக்கு பங்குச் சந்தை பற்றிய ஒரு அறிமுகமாக இருக்கும். இந்த புத்தகத்தை நீங்கள் கிண்டிலில் வாங்க விரும்பினால் வீடியோவின் கீழே இருக்கும் லிங்கை கிளிக் செய்யுங்கள்.
Good evening. Today I wanted to talk about a strange paradox. Last week when I was looking at Business Standard, I found that a 3 crore car launched by Mercedes-Benz sold out within 2 weeks. What they claimed, in a month they sold 50 Benz cars, each worth 3 crores, within 4 weeks. And that was the total allocation for India, and those who wanted to buy cars had to wait for 1 year. In the same article, there were talks of other big luxury cars being sold out. And in the month before, I saw ordinary Benz cars are being sold at the rate of 300 rupees per month. Benz got so confident, it decided to take the inventory risk on itself, saying that dealers had to act only as sales consultants and most of the risk for inventory would be taken by itself. Why is this happening? At the same time, CME is saying report after report that joblessness is growing. MSME and SME are struggling. In May, 2/3 of all auto debit instructions failed. Check bounces happened. Delinquencies increased. Uday Kotak, one of India's largest banks, Kotak Mahindra Bank, warned that consumer credit would suffer if the government did not intervene and transfer money. The Venerable T.N. Nainan, writing in Business Standard a year ago in an editorial, warned of a K-shaped recovery where the rich would get richer and the poor would get poorer. If this happens, India is going to become like Latin America, where warned Ratan Roy when he said India would become like Brazil, where there was a huge disparity of income between two classes of people, the very rich and the very poor. The very rich would live in gated communities surrounded by electrical fences. Their kids would go to very good colleges and schools, and they would have the best of everything in the world, while the poor lived in shanty towns, finding it difficult to make 2 to 3 square meals a day. And this would mean that there would be a lot of violence when these two worlds came together. India could have easily become another Scandinavian country, or at least a Southeast Asian tiger, where income equality is not so great as Latin America. How did India in 2009 and 12, which was touted as the next Asian tiger, when millions were lifted out of poverty, land up in this stage? That one pandemic, which has lasted 18 months, has put millions back into poverty. I would say the following is the reason. The government of India does not have a full competent macroeconomist. In the last 70 years, no government, including 6 years of the Vajpayee government, meddled around with economic policy making. Planning Commission was always in place. Governments came and went, but state continued to do its job. There is a distinction between government and the state. The state is the bureaucratic structure which continues on irrespective of party in power. The Planning Commission and the economic advisors were a part of the troop. I remember when Vajpayee became Prime Minister, Montek Singh Ahluwalia, who was considered close to Manmohan Singh, continued to be in service and was with Vajpayee's government for more than a year until he went to IMF as India's representative and later head for emerging economies. But what struck me most was that this government has fired all the macroeconomists because it did not want to listen to their advice. The only two economists of note were Arvind Panagria and Arvind Subramaniam. Both were trade economists, but even they could not last with this government and they were soon sacked. And Arvind Subramaniam, after going out, wrote articles on how the GDP measurement was wrong. The only big macroeconomist was in Reserve Bank, Gurjit Patel, who was made governor by this government, also resigned abruptly when he was browbeaten to sign the demonetization against which he warned. He survived demonetization, but within a year, because of other compulsions, he resigned without any notice, and a bureaucrat with no economic background was made the Reserve Bank governor. This meant that you did not have any policy maker who would give you correct advice. Taxation in India can be of two forms. One is direct taxes and the other is indirect taxes. In an unequal economy, the government has to go out of the way to make sure the burden of taxation falls on the rich and not on the poor. In India's case, this government has made sure the burden of taxation is on the middle class, the lower middle class, and the upper middle class, sparing the rich and the mighty. Why do I say this? India's tax structure has three major components. One is corporate income tax, another is personal income tax, which you, me, and other salaried people pay, and finally, indirect taxes. This government has gone out of its way to increase indirect taxes, especially taxes on fuel and a customs and excise duty on all most important goods. This has meant that overall there would be an inflation in commodities and prices, which is burning a hole in the middle class and the upper middle class. The second, what they have done is, except for minor tinkering in the personal tax space, they have maintained status quo. And those who are earning 20 lakhs and more, personal taxes have gone up. Whereas in case of corporate taxes, there has been a huge cut in corporate taxes. And this has meant that average corporate taxes have fallen from 39% to 23%, though they have done away with exemptions. But even with that, an average company will pay only 25% in taxes. The result is that total corporate taxes have dropped, collections have dropped by 20%, even though corporate profits have soared. So the Laffer curve has not worked, and therefore contribution of corporate taxes to the economy is down. To make up for this, the government has put taxes on fuel and other things, which has made things very worse. When even in normal times, this would have meant a lopsided cape-shaped recovery. But in this pandemic, the government allowed RBI to do the heavy lifting and did not act much on giving stimulus, unlike the rest of the world. The one big stimulus they gave was giving rice and dal to the poor free for 6 months and putting 500 rupees in the account of women. This is partly comparing the size of India. Most of the companies in service sector have lost, either terminated jobs or have implemented severe pay cuts. We must not forget that in India's economy, more than 50% is in service economy. This has meant the poor and the lower middle class have lost jobs, have suffered pay cuts, while the rich and the super rich have had a good life. This explains why on one end there has been super ability of the rich on lower taxes to buy luxury cars and the poor to struggle without even a roof over their head. Thank you for watching. Be rich. It's a great privilege and honor that so many of you in thousands have subscribed to my channel and have supported me. I have written 2 books in English, The Alchemy of Money and Ordinary Stocks, Extraordinary Profits. These books are published by us and are ready. If you want to procure a copy, send us a message to the WhatsApp number given below and my team would respond to you. If you want an Amazon Kindle copy, you can click the link below. Finally, those who wish to consult with me can send a mail to berichenglish@gmail.com. Once again, I thank you for your support. If you like this video, press the subscribe button of my channel, hit the like button and turn on the bell notification.